Hey, welcome back. Today we're finishing our look at the Dreamland 2 parter with Dreamland 2 episode 5 of season 6. Premiering December 6th, 1998, Dreamland 2 continues as Mulder does all he can to get back into his real body. Dreamland Part 2 begins with Morris giving us a rundown on Mulder's past. You know, just in case you haven't been paying attention the past 6 years. However, considering the line of work Morris is in, do you think he knows what happened to Samantha? I mean, he's your typical man in black working at Area 51. Surely he must know something. Or is the Syndicate even more shadowy than the men in black? Maybe all that info is above his pay grade. Well, we catch back up where we left off, and maybe Scully's finally come to the realization that Morris is Mulder and Mulder is Morris.
Dana, I'm sorry I narked on you to Kirsch, but I was scared you were going to lose your job.
Mulder does often worry about Scully losing her job over his crusade, but he'd never narc on her. Oh good, the lone gunmen are in this one, but who the hell is Dean Haglung? Mulder has a little chat with the old native woman, who's actually a soldier, and is definitely not wearing old age makeup.
Are you alright, man?
Man? Kiss my ass, you desk monkey.
Whoa, language, Granny. Man, Morris really loves his Tiger Woods video games. I'm pretty sure my father played the hell out of this one too. Scully pops in to tell Morris that she's been given a 2-week suspension without pay. Since when does anyone in law enforcement get suspended without pay? Morris offers to cook her a home-cooked meal, you know, to help ease the pain. But since when does Mulder cook, or even have food for that matter?
Whoa.
The old native soldier lady goes on and on about flying or whatever, but I never thought I'd see Mulder try and attack an old lady.
If you were running a scam on the FBI, why didn't you let us in on it?
I didn't know if I could trust you.
So these idiots think Mulder, or Morris, gave the wrong flight recorder as a means of throwing off the FBI. For Men in Black, they are kind of dumb. The funny part is they still think Mulder has the real flight recorder, which of course he doesn't. He only grabbed the one which he didn't know was a fake. So it's basically blind luck that Mulder isn't put away for the rest of his life, or even worse. Morris arrives to his apartment, I guess with some groceries, but remember when Mulder's kitchen had a brick wall?
This guy hasn't been laid in 10 years.
That's not true. He got laid at least 4 years ago by some vampire lady. Also, is Mulder's room just porn mags and what I assume are FBI case files? Mulder arrives home, though his stuff is all over the lawn. What I find amusing though is he actually does try and act like a good dad. I guarantee he'd be a way better husband and father for this family. Mulder tries explaining himself to Joanne, but I don't think she wants to hear it. And even if she did, I doubt she'd believe it.
Dana Scully, Special Agent Dana Scully.
Special Tramp Dana Scully.
She's my partner.
Actually, it's Special Tramp Dana Scully, MD. She didn't go to med school for nothing. Mulder continues trying to convince Joanne that he's not Morris, but she just thinks he's going through a midlife crisis. I don't think they have a blue pill for that one. Scully arrives at Mulder's place and it's way too clean and brightly lit. I'm kinda like a mogwai, so I need low lights at all times. Morris gives Scully a tour of the place, and by tour of the place, I mean he brings her straight to the bedroom. Real subtle, Morris. I would love to know what he did with all of Mulder's stuff, though. Ooh, a water bed. Those kind of suck. You know, I'm starting to think that Morris doesn't exactly have the purest of intentions with Scully. Morris starts getting Scully a little tipsy, which, as we've learned in the past, seems to be her kryptonite.
You know what would really be fun?
What? Oh yeah.
Dear Penthouse Magazine. Yeah, this doesn't go how Morris thought, but hey, this isn't the first time Scully's almost been duped by a fake Mulder, and as the old saying goes, fool Scully once, shame on you. Fool Scully, well, you can't get fooled again.
That's good.
Oh no, Morris, nothing kills the mood more than premature champagne. Alright, Morris, the jig is up. Scully finally knows what's going on, and it only took nearly an hour of TV time. She wants to know how to switch things back, but even Morris, the secret man in black, has no clue. Even if he did, it's not like he'd be rushing back to kids that hate him, and a wife who really did nothing wrong. She just wants a little lovin', apparently. Just then, Mulder's super top secret contact calls up, which I'm sure will help sort this whole thing out. Joanna's about to leave Mulder, who offers to take her somewhere with lots of people. So like a restaurant? The mall? What are we talking about here, Mulder? Alright, I'm moving to Nevada. Scully and Morris arrive at the little alien, which is kind of amazing. They're going to meet Mulder's contact here, but Morris just can't help but keep trying to press Scully.
Can't we start over? Do that thing with the handcuffs. Maybe, probably not your scene.
This man really wants to pee sitting down. Mulder and Joanne are here too? This can't be a coincidence. Morris finds Mulder's secret contact, and it's the General? I really had my money on Meatloaf. At least now we know that Mulder saw the UFO because the General disabled its stealth. I thought maybe Morris did it to mess with the city folk. Mulder finds Scully in the parking lot and asks what she's doing here. So he didn't come here knowing she was gonna be there as well? Why did he bring Joanne, who's already heartbroken, just to abandon her in the bar? Joanne goes out looking for her husband only to find him in a car with Scully. Man, this poor lady. I think she got the worst of this out of everyone. Oh, what, now you feel bad? Seeing your wife sitting alone and crying? I just want to smack this guy upside the head. Meatloaf shows up to the bar and asks Joanne if she's seen Morris. Mulder returns only for Joanne to throw her drink in his face. Poor Joanne would do anything for love, but she will definitely throw a drink in your face if you cheat on her. Mulder heads to the bathroom and hey, look who it is. This whole thing becomes an absolute disaster. You've got Mulder and Morris, the General, Meatloaf and his buddies, Joanne, and now Scully all in the same location? This is a powder keg just waiting to explode. Mulder and the General pull a little trick on Meatloaf by pretending he has the flight recorder. Meanwhile, Morris and Scully have it in their possession as they drive off. Okay, that's great and all, but what about Joanne?
More huevos rancheros.
Más huevos rancheros.
I don't know what they're having, but I'll take two. Scully and Morris show up with the flight recorder, but while Scully and her simps look it over, Morris is just soaking up the lone gunman's palace. The gunmen are quickly let in on what's going on, but what I find amusing is everything they publish in their paper according to Morris is just made up nonsense. What they think is the truth is merely a fabrication of whatever Morris and the other men in black can think of. It's gotta suck to find out your entire life's work is nothing but hogwash.
There is no Saddam Hussein. This guy's name is John Gilnitz. We found him doing dinner theater in Tulsa.
FYI, John Gilnitz is John Sheban, Frank Spotnitz, and Vince Gilligan mashed together. The name appears a few times throughout the series. Mulder meets with the General, who's now shredding evidence, I guess. Does it really matter at this point? Morris knows he's the leaker. It's only a matter of time until Lovecraft and Meatloaf do too. The only thing is the General doesn't actually seem to know anything. He tipped Mulder off so he could see the UFO and maybe expose the truth about aliens. The General himself even asks Mulder if they're even real. What good is the General if the guys working under him seem to know more? In the meantime, some city folk are out looking for UFOs when that pesky Shockwave decides to intertwine a couple of lovers in ways that I'm not sure they're used to. I need to ask though, how long is this shockwave going on for? And when will it actually stop? Considering how long it's been since it first started and the speed at which it travels, you'd think it would have covered most of the United States by now. Scully and Mulder meet up so Scully can deliver the very good news that it looks like he's stuck in that body forever. And that's not the only good news. Scully has also lost her job within the FBI. What do you think the cigarette-smoking man thinks about all of this? And does this not put Mulder in a more advantageous position now? The Syndicate don't know who he is, and now he's working as a top-secret man in black? He's closer to the truth than ever. Though the General did act like he knew absolutely nothing, so maybe he isn't? The two say their goodbyes, and I guess that's the end of the X-Files. For like the 40th time.
I'd kiss you if you weren't so damn ugly.
Doctor, I'd like to kiss you goodbye.
All right, but you're so damned ugly.
Lovecraft gets stopped by a guy who tells him all about his conjoined friends, but when they check it out, they're back to normal. But that's not the only thing back to normal. The gas station has mysteriously put itself back together, and even the gas station attendant is alive and well. See, you can't kill Jason Voorhees.
You got a lot of gall coming back here, sister. You getting some kind of a kick out of that? Homewrecker!
To be fair, is Scully really the homewrecker when your own husband is the one that treats you like crap? Scully and Morris show up to speak to Mulder because they might have a fix to this whole thing.
You got mad at me at the reception because I said I couldn't see the cake behind your fat ass.
Morris is definitely a romantic. Okay, so he might be having a change of heart and missing his wife. He does manage to convince her that he's the real Morris, but do you think she'd prefer him stay in Mulder's body? I mean, she could still have her husband, and now he suddenly looks like Mulder? Instead, they think this whole thing is reversing itself, so they need to go back to the exact spot where it all started and fast. Just then, Meatloaf arrives and arrests Mulder for stealing the flight recorder box, but they're conveniently stopped by Lovecraft at the exact spot where it all started. He's not exactly doing this out of the goodness of his heart, but more so because he wants his clean record back.
Well, in that case, Dana, it's been real.
The time bubble thingy snaps back and everyone is back in their proper bodies, although Scully still has the fused coins, which doesn't make much sense. Dreamland Part 2 is a fun conclusion, but I'm not sure I like it as much as the first. The whole time warp snapping back and basically treating everything as if it never happened is a little too convenient, and the snapback itself doesn't really make much sense. Like I mentioned, this bubble seemed to be traveling for days, affecting everything it touched, but just how far out did it go? It seems like it never left Nevada, so would Scully still have her job when she got back? If the snapback didn't affect Mulder's apartment or the change Scully had in her desk, why would it affect Kirsch firing her? The only thing I can think is when they were hit by the bubble again, they went back in time a couple days, but this would mean the apartment and everything else should go back to normal too, right? I don't know at this point. I think I'm just confusing myself and thinking way too hard about something that really doesn't matter. What does matter is the episode is still very entertaining. It's really just more of what we got from the first part. My favorite scene is probably when Morris tries to get Scully in bed, but there's no way she's falling for that. Again. I do love when Joanne calls Scully Special Tramp Dana Scully.
Dana Scully, Special Agent Dana Scully.
Special Tramp Dana Scully.
She's my partner.
I actually feel really bad for Joanne throughout both parts of Dreamland, and I wonder why she would ever take her husband back. What, because he remembered a few moments from their marriage and the birth of their daughter? I guarantee he says nothing about the secretary he slept with. The problem with everything just going back to normal on its own, it's really no different than doing an episode where the main character wakes from a dream, and we just did that with the episode Triangle. Or was it a dream? Regardless of little plot holes or things that maybe don't make a lot of sense, I still enjoy this one quite a bit.
Mom says she's taking out a restraining order on you.
Alright, so Dreamland Part 2, like Part 1, was written by John Sheban, Frank Spotnitz, and Vince Gilligan, which probably explains the little John Gilnitz reference they slipped in. Since these two were filmed back to back, there wasn't a ton left to uncover for the second part, but I did dig up a few X-Files nuggets. First up, the production had to temporarily relocate to Club Ed, a movie ranch way out near Lancaster, California. Now that's almost 100 miles away from Fox Studios, so most of the crew ended up camping out in desert motels. And because filming outside the Los Angeles studio zone meant Fox had to pay per diems to cover meals and lodging, the budget got a little tight. Apparently, halfway through filming, Duchovny was overheard grumbling, "When is this show moving back to Los Angeles?" And of course, the crew immediately made t-shirts with that quote, "Classic David." The scraggly desert gas station you see in the episode couldn't just rent it. Nope, it had to be built from scratch. Construction, art, and special effects all pitched in, while set decorator Tim Stepik tracked down a gas station in LA that was about to go out of business. He bought the pumps and fixtures and shipped them all to the desert. The groceries and store merchandise, snagged from restaurant supply houses, food co-ops, and discount supermarkets. Then when it all came together, the last scene filmed was the gas station blowing up in spectacular fashion. And just like that, poof, the whole thing vanished. 2 days of shooting and it's as if it never existed. By contrast, Area 51 was mostly a digital affair. Visual effects producer Bill Miller and his team built the secret base's aircraft on Macintosh computers. The only real-life element was the front gate, which was actually a fence in San Bernardino County. They opened it, drove the white Cherokee through, and the rest was all matte paintings and movie magic. Speaking of movie magic, the gravity-warped bodies fused into rocks and floors were all thanks to special effects makeup supervisor John Vulich. He made molds of the actors' faces, arms, and torsos, then stuck them into holes in the set and attached silicone pieces to create the illusion of human rock hybrids. The Gila monster stuck in a rock, it was a real Gila monster. They just covered it with a padded clamshell fiberglass that sorta looked like a rock. Here's a fun little recent X-Files nugget. In December 2023, Daniel Wu reported in the Washington Post that the country song you hear briefly when Joanne enters the bar, which had been a mystery to fans for 25 years, was finally identified. Thanks to a fan named Lauren Ancona tweeting about it, the song was revealed to be Staring at the Stars, written by Dan Marfisi and Glenn A. Jordan back in the 90s. They had to whip up a country track fast, and the lyrics are basically a tongue-in-cheek alien-themed love song. In my memory, you are the moonlight, starlight, with big dark eyes that send me out of sight. According to Marfisi, it's so weird and wonderful. People are talking about Glenn's and my song. That's what you want as a musician.
In my memory, you are moonlight, starlight, with big dark eyes that send me outside.
Gillian Anderson found the whole Fletcher-Mulder body swap thing alternately fun and tricky. Not because it was hard to act as if McKean was Mulder. After 5.5 seasons, she knew Mulder inside and out, but because she had to treat David Duchovny as if he were McKean's character. With all that built-up chemistry, that was a real challenge. In the end, she says they pulled it off, but it was very tricky, very interesting. Here's a bit I need to shout out thanks to a commenter. In the last video, I mentioned Ted White, the gas station attendant, also played Jason Voorhees in Friday the 13th Part 4. Well, I completely overlooked Michael B. Silver, who I've been lovingly referring to as Lovecraft, played a character in Jason Goes to Hell. And let's just say the scene is pretty memorable. And I may have replayed it many times as a 12-year-old. Dreamland 2 currently sits at 8.8 on IMDb. It's a fun episode that I don't think is as good as the first, but I'd still probably give it an 8 just on how entertaining it is, while ignoring all the things that don't exactly make sense. Up next, we have a very fitting episode because since it's the beginning of September, maybe, depending on when this video comes out, that means it's the perfect time to start celebrating Christmas? Yes, Mulder and Scully investigate a spooky haunted house and how the ghost stole Christmas. So what do you think about Dreamland 2? Let me know down in the comments. Anyways, that's all for today. I hope you're having a good one and stay spooky.
Mulder's trapped in another man's body.
Go tell it to that tramp of yours, that Scully.
Special Agent Dana Scully.
Special tramp Dana Scully.
And missing out.
I didn't even know you had a bedroom.
On the time of his life.
You know what would really be fun?
A classic X-Files.
Oh yeah.
Sunday at 9, 8 Central on Fox.